The purpose for appeal codes is to track your fundraising efforts. Every gift, pledge, and name record that is added to your data must have an appeal code. You should create an appeal code for each of your fundraising functions. For example, if you hold a fundraising banquet, you should create a code that might be called Spring Banquet. All gifts, pledges, and name records added then to your data as a result of the banquet will have that code, which will then allow you to run a report later showing that information. It's easy to get confused between appeal codes and fund codes. The best way to think about appeal codes is to remember that they track where your donations come from, while fund codes track what the money is being raised for or is being spent on. For example, you would not create an appeal code for your general fund. You are raising money for the general fund, and you probably have different types of fundraising activities that raise money for that fund. Those activities are your appeal codes. Using appeal codes in this way will allow you to take an honest look at your fundraising efforts to determine what works and what doesn't work, and Denari has a variety of ways to get the information using appeal codes. You can create a new appeal code in one of two ways. The easiest is to click the plus sign at the top of Denari and then click New Appeal from the Quick Items menu. You can also click the plus sign and click on the Appeal Codes link in the Codes column. This will bring you to a list of your existing appeal codes. You can click on one to open it and edit it, or you can click the Add New button in the upper right hand corner, and we'll do that. The first field at the top is the description field. This field is for you. It describes to you and your coworkers what this code is about. So using our banquet example from earlier, we might type Spring Banquet 2016 in this field. Across from that, we find the code field. This field is the identifier for Denari. It tells Denari that this appeal is different from any others, and so it must be unique. You can't have two appeal codes the same. Some people keep this pretty simple, and in our example we might enter SB16. Some users, however, have a strategy for their codes. For example, they might start all of their banquet codes with a B, then give each one a number, so their codes might be something like B101, B201, etc. Another type of fundraising effort might start with a different letter or set of letters followed by numbers. This can be helpful in reporting, since we could use that to produce a list of gifts, for example, that have an appeal code that runs from B100 to B500. But from Denari's perspective, the only requirement is that they be unique. Let's jump down now to the only other required field on the page, the campaign ID field. A campaign is a grouping function for several appeal codes. In our example, we could create a campaign record called Banquets. You can select that campaign here to place this appeal code in that group. This also makes reporting much easier because we could again get a list of gifts for a campaign rather than using the appeals from B100 to B500. Obviously, the campaign code must be set up prior to selecting it here. Campaigns also have another function related to credit cards and EFTs, and that is covered in the campaigns video, and it is that function that causes this to be the required field. If you don't need to group this appeal code, you can simply create a campaign and call it default or something like that, and then link any appeal code to that just to satisfy the requirement. As I said, the rest of the fields on this page are all optional, and we'll discuss them in order. The begin date is purely informational. It cannot be used as a filter in reports. It just lets you or anyone else know when this fundraising effort took place. The active checkbox is used to make an appeal code inactive by unchecking the box. The big reason for this is that it removes this code from the drop-down list in any gift entry screen, and then gifts can no longer be assigned to this appeal code by mistake. It also makes the list shorter and more manageable. The insulated checkbox can be defined by you and used for whatever you want. Denari has no specific purpose for it. It is simply a way to tag gifts linked to this appeal code. You could, for example, decide that insulated for you means foundation gifts. That would then allow you to get a list of gifts that are foundation gifts by using this field. The GL code field is also only informational. It allows you to relate this appeal code back to an account, probably an expense account in your accounting system. There are no reports that show this field, nor can any filter on this field. It is just there as a reminder if needed. This next section, goals, can be discussed together. There is a report called Campaign Performance that will show you the revenue from appeals versus the costs, and the costs come from these fields. It makes the assumption here that your costs will be from mailings, but some users have entered other costs into any of the cost fields, like postage costs, for example, just so that they'll show up on that report. Of course, the notes field here is there for you, and you can put anything you want in that field. Again, it is informational, but anything you enter here could help other staff members understand what this appeal is about in the future. And the last section on this page is for premiums. You may or may not see this in your Denari company, depending on whether you have that module turned on or not. Generally, premiums are used in conjunction with Denari's radio or share-a-thon module, and they have their own video if you'd like more information. But we can quickly say here that a premium is a gift in return for a donation. This section allows you to set up the appeal so that when someone makes a donation to this appeal or using this appeal, the gift assigned here will be automatically assigned to that donor. Again, for more information, check out the video on premiums. To complete the appeal code setup, just hit Save at the top in the button bar. This completes this video on appeal codes. If you have any questions, please contact tech support by clicking the Help button and then click on Support.